Greetings, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all. Do you know much about how to collaborate in these days? We're going to be talking about how to step into your power and manage today's difficult, challenging times by literally learning how to collaborate and use the skills you already have, and all that and more. We're going to be talking to our guest, Michelle Anderson. She's an expert at collaborating, and you will get to hear all that when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. It is so nice to have you here with us. I am so grateful for your presence in my life, and especially as I'm coming out as an undercover angel these days. And I don't know if you saw the people I'm collaborating with for my show, but there was Archangel Michael, and there were the host of Heavenly People and the Celestial ones. So you are in the right place if you really want to know how to step into the miraculous and remember more of who you are. So thank you. If you're new to the channel, guys, please like, subscribe, and share it out. There's going to be lots of wonderful information today. And I just wanted to tell you all, I am an intuitive, a soul mastery coach and mentor, and I work with people who feel the call to awaken to their best self. So my soul awakening programs, my soul mastery coaching is for those who need support, structure, inner tools to discover your best self and let go of what is holding you back, so we can all move forward with grace and ease. And so I encourage you to go check it out at my channel, www.joanofangels.com, and pick up my free ebook on how to step into your soulful, happy, prosperous life, because that's what it's about, how you can raise your energy from the inside out to do what you know you've come here to do your soul purpose. Now, I'm so happy today to talk about the subject that we're talking about, conscious collaboration. I'm going to be bringing on my friend, Michelle Anderson. She is a radio personality, quite a personality, by the way. She's a producer, an MC, a speaker, and a mentor. And she has been facilitating gatherings for those seeking spiritual connection and conscious collaboration for over 10 years. She creates unique experiences for people to connect with the dolphins and whales, an incredible experience, by the way. I've been on it. And she facilitates group journeys to sacred places and mentors those on the awakening path to connect with their true eternal essence. She's an avid supporter of Indigenous communities and regularly supports events that lead people back to nature. She's also, by the way, the host, and she'll tell you about this, the host on Awakening Code Radio, which is at kfmrradio.org. I think if we could put that in the private chat, Michelle, that would be great too. And so she's been a host of her show. She's a producer of the Star Ancestor Space at DisclosureFest, and she's a passionate MC. So that's what I want to share with you about Michelle. I'm bringing her on right now. I'm so glad you're with us.
I'm so glad to be here.
You know, I was reading your bio and I was remembering that I actually met you at Contact, the very first Contact in the desert.
I do remember that.
Okay, which I can barely remember when that was. That must have been 2011.
Was it really?
No, it wasn't. I didn't get back to California till till 2:12. So it must have been 2013, probably before I started painting.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember meeting you right before you started painting.
Yes, and that's where we met. And I remember, oh my God, I want to know this woman. You carry a grace and an elegance that's so inspirational, Michelle.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I felt the same way about you, and your exuberance and your vitality and, you know, just the essence of you made me feel uplifted and inspired just being around you because you have such great energy. It's just so vibrant.
I do the best I can, but I want you to know something. We bounce. We can even dive into the subject soon. We bounce off of each other, and when
Yeah.
you find soul family, that suddenly you're like this, and
Mhm.
the ideas bounce off. You know that you're in your soul family. So
Yeah, I feel that you and I have had these paths where we have more of a telepathic connection because we don't talk regularly on the phone. We're off doing our own things, but whenever we sink in really deep. Soul
yeah,
sisters.
very lovely. And so tell us a little bit about you and your life and how this art of how you got into this conscious collaboration and into all the events that you're doing. Like what led you there?
Gosh, I it's so weird to take a walk down memory lane right now. And before we went on, and you were talking about how you feel seen now, and that you've really stepped into what you came here to do, and you're on fire. I love watching what you're doing. And thinking about how I got into all of this, I just kind of fell into it. I was helping a friend look for a job, and we were at my auto mechanic. My car was being fixed, and I said, "Come on, let's look for a job for you." So, and I wasn't looking for a job. I've been, since I left my career at the hospital in 1993, which is when my daughter was born, I never went back to a regular type of a job. I never went back to a 9 to 5 job. And I do feel very blessed and very grateful that I've been afforded that lifestyle thanks to my husband carrying the burden, really. And I've done things here and there. But for the most part, I was able to just help people. And that's what I like to do the best. That's what lights me up, is being in service and helping other people and seeing other people shine. And I get such great satisfaction from that. So I was helping this girlfriend, and I said, let's look at nonprofits. And she's like, no, they don't pay enough. And I said, come on, let's look. And we looked on nonprofit, and we read this description for a job, and she goes, Michelle, that sounds like you. And I said, I'm not looking for a job. I'm the mom. I'm the taxi to school and 2 events and, after school projects. And I ended up calling the woman. I don't know if you know who Dr. Sharon Forrest is. A lot of people know her name. She's a naturopath physician and a holistic psychologist, and she does past life regressions, and she's created different healing techniques and has amazing stories of incredible healings with, people that have been blind that could see again and stuff like that. Really amazing. And so I called her, and I said, I'm just really drawn to this. I said, I'm not looking for a job, but I would be willing to volunteer for you. That's what I said. And she's like, please come over. Will you just come over? So that next morning I went over. I didn't have a resume or anything like that. I just went over there, and we instantly fell in love with each other. And it was that soul family recognition, like I had with you and like I had with Neil and many of the others that are on this path. And I said, I could help you out on Tuesdays, 9 to 2, something like this. I ended up helping her out 1 or 2 days a week, and she hired somebody for that position she was looking for. But back then, what she was doing, she would take people, she did workshops for her different healing techniques and complete cellular complete cellular mind body healing that she was given a download by the angels, I think, to do this healing technique. And she did workshops and things like that, numerology, Egyptian numerology. And she took people to Peru. She had started a nonprofit called Path of the Heart, and now it's called Enlightened Humanitarians. And she'd been taking people to Peru and helping. She started a food program for children that, didn't get a meal. They would climb down the mountain. They would walk down the mountain to go to school and not even have food. So she started a program in town to feed the children, and it's grown so much. She's done so much for the children of Peru.
Mhm.
And so she said, I know that you're destined to go to Peru. And it was the first trip I ever took without my family. It was just something I really knew I had to do. So I went to Peru, and I had what you would call an awakening experience, where I called my husband from the airport before I came home, and I said, I'm not the same person I was before I left. And he said, what does that mean? And I said, I don't know, but something happened to me here. Like, it was a heart-opening experience. And who were we talking with? I think you were on that panel on Portal to Ascension when we were talking to Sheila Seppi, and she was talking about walk-ins.
Uh-huh.
And my husband, I think, heard that part, and he's like, do you think you're a walk-in because of that thing that happened in Peru? And I said, no, I still feel like I'm me. But something happened where I really felt like I was connecting with something within me that wanted to be in service more and wanted to help more people and learn more about our soul's evolutionary process.
Mhm.
And that was really before people talked about ascension or awakening. It wasn't really a big thing that people talked about.
Uh-huh.
It was in 2006 when this happened.
I see it unfolding in front of my eyes, by the way. As
Yeah.
you say this.
So incredible. It was such an incredible experience. And the next year I took my husband and daughter back in 2007, just because, I wanted them to see what I experienced there. And with my husband and I started donating, and we put one of the beautiful Peruvian teenagers through nursing school. And I just have such a connection there. And then I led my first journey there, 11-11-11, to Amaru's doorway. But before that, I took a group to Mount Shasta. I'd never been there, and I had heard, that I was supposed to take a group to Mount Shasta for Wesak in 2008.
Uh-huh.
And synchronicities happen to make that happen. So, what I recognized and learned was just to follow the energy and say yes, just like I did for you when you said, do you want to be on this? And I was like, sure. I just kind of wait for the invitation for collaboration with other people. And everybody seems to be lifted when we do that. I think that's part of this evolutionary spiral we're on, is recognizing that we're moving out of a hierarchical system and coming into the space where we all recognize our own greatness and the greatness in each other, and how special every unique soul on this planet is. And I feel like we all, raised our hand for this mission to be here now. And the only way we're going to get through this is through finding our community, because what's happening on the earth right now is really pushing us into realizing nobody's going to get through it by themselves. We have to do our own internal work.
No one's going to get through by themselves. And we're in really difficult times on the planet, which require you to find your tribe.
Yeah.
Like, this is the time to find the people that you can work together with to build new dreams or to fulfill the projects. And that does sort of, in a way, have to do with what is really going on in this separation and this ascension process.
Mm-hmm.
Because I sent a text to my girlfriend about Freedom Airlines, that for people who are not vaccinated, there's now going to be a new airlines. And she said, that's what's going to happen. The unvaxxed are going to be the free ones. The vaxxed may not be, but we're rising. We're all separating and learning to collaborate with each other to get what we need in society now.
Yeah, I'm going to be on a show with Larissa Stowe and Scott Katamas, talking about, how we can all get through this without separating, where it's not pointing a finger at you did this and you did this, and so now we can't talk anymore. that's not going to get us to this next level of evolution. It's,
No,
you know, love will see us through it, but we've got to start on ourselves. And that's something that I think is coming forward for a lot of us. When all of this hit in early 2020, my husband and I were going through a really difficult time in our relationship. And I really felt like if I don't work on myself, this isn't going to work. And so I dove deep into doing like the hero's journey, and I did it with somebody named Corwin Beals, Dr. Corwin Beals, in a program called Marriage Alchemy. And even though it's for, you know, the marriage, it's for any couple or even for yourself, but you do it by yourself. Your partner doesn't do this program with you. And it's a 13-week program, intense program, where every single day there's homework, there's, you know, meditating twice a day and keeping a journal and staying in gratitude and asking your dreams to show you, you know, what you need to learn in this moment. And some pretty interesting stuff came up. And my husband saw what was happening with me. And he's like, what are you getting out of this? And I would share with him the different quizzes I took. What we learned is we are totally opposite. I'm an extrovert, he's an introvert. You know, the way I think about money is the opposite of the way he thinks about money. The way I think about time and the way I deal with time is totally opposite than the way he deals with it. And what Dr. Beals talks about is that opposites attract, and it's for a reason, you know? So I just found it really interesting, but there was so much growth there. And then my husband joined the program, and he couldn't really get into it until I was all the way through it, which I graduated on his birthday. And then he did his 13 weeks from his birthday on. But it was just such a special program. And he's somebody, Dr. Beals, I said, I'm going to have you on my radio show, but not when my husband's in the program and not when I'm in the program, because I didn't want any of my listeners to come on while we were both on, you know, because there's Zoom calls twice a week with a group. And it's such a great dynamic. But
so you're still in the program with your husband, but you're saying it's shifted your entire kind of perception, your marriage, and maybe even your new purpose. Has it shifted some, you know, because I see this as an initiation for all of us. So has it shifted what you're working on now in your life or in your collaborations?
Well, one of the things that came through for me, seeing that we're so opposite, we really are different. Like he'll say, you know, I'm not into the whole galactic thing that you're into. And I said, that's okay. That's mine. That's my truth. And I laugh at myself with it. You know, when people look at me like, do you really believe in all that stuff? Last night, we had someone on our radio show, Rich Gurman, who started a nonprofit called Our Epic Ocean. And his video back in 2015 of some orca whales that were actually going right underneath his paddleboard. I mean, it is quite a sight to see. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. But we were talking with him last night, and my husband was listening to the show just at home, the radio show. And I said something to Rich about, you know, Rich, when I met you, I felt like we were dolphins together in another life. And that's happened to me, where I've seen that. And it sounds so crazy. It's like, how could that come out of my mouth? How could I have those feelings? People will ask me about the dolphins, you know, and say, how do they talk to you? And I'm like, well, it's not like Flipper, but it's not like, you know, we're your dolphin family. It's nothing like that. It's they communicate telepathically, and it's like a transmission to the heart. So when I said that, Brian, you know, my husband was like, yeah, I heard that part about the dolphin thing. And it just is like, that's not his deal. And that's okay. That's okay. And it wasn't Rich's deal either. Rich was like, I don't know about that. But, you know, he's
I know you and the dolphins, though. And I can say this, I'm sure that you do have your telepathic communication with the dolphins. And I've been on 2 of your dolphin tours, 2 different times. And they were very magical, because the dolphins, you created, and I want to tell everybody, I don't know if you're still doing it, but you created such a magical experience with all the music and the chanting and the song, that the dolphins just came with us because they were so happy to have have us earthlings that were joyful like that, calling. It was really a beautiful experience.
Oh, thank you. I haven't done it since 2019. I haven't done a boat since then. I've just really taken this time to go deep in my own journey. But interestingly enough, it's given me more opportunity to collaborate with more people. You know, I got really involved with Portal to Ascension during this time. I've gotten really involved with DisclosureFest, and I was already involved with DisclosureFest. In June of 2019, we had 20,000 people at Los Angeles State Historic Park. 32 acres with 16 stages of a really high conscious mass meditation experience with musicians and a lot of yoga. And Neil had a whole stage dedicated to Portal to Ascension. And the reason why I love working with Adrian Valera of DisclosureFest is because he is a conscious collaborator, just like Neil is. And I've told both of those men, I don't jump in with a lot of people unless I feel that purity of heart where there's a vibrational signature that I think we can feel when somebody's really authentic and really cares deeply, and doesn't have that this is mine and that's yours mentality. And we're all kind of growing up. We're all on this experience where it's time for us to grow up and let go of those childhood wounds that made us feel like we were never enough. And sometimes when we have those wounds, you know, when we have that, we want to be seen, we want to be felt, we want to be heard. Sometimes we go into competition because we think, you know, well, if that person can do it, then I want to do it. And I want to do it better. And I don't believe that works. I think what we learn is everything is vibration and frequency. And when we're in it, because we get excited for someone else to be successful, we automatically feel successful ourselves. And it kind of brings us along that ladder, you know, and that's what I'm seeing happening right now, that the silver lining in these unprecedented times right now is that it is causing us to look within, to heal some of those childhood wounds. Once we work on ourselves, we can, you know, radiate that out to our community. And once we get it in our community, it just keeps going. And I feel like interplanetary peace will come once we find peace on Earth, but we won't find peace on Earth until we find peace in our communities and in ourselves, in our families and in ourselves. So we're working on it.
Very, very perceptive, I think, and learning how to collaborate with each other for the highest. The phrase that I used most of the last 2 years is for the highest good of all concerned on the planet. Now, that's a big deal, not to just ask for the highest concern for yourself. It's like, well, I need miracles here. Take care of me first. No, it's really now what's for the highest good of all of us collectively that's going to shift the energies into this new realm.
And I take it to not just on Earth, but for the highest good for all life in every realm and dimension. If you go deep into some of the stuff we've learned through speakers at Portal to Ascension and Contact in the Desert and Conscious Life Expo, you know, there's a lot of people speaking about planetary wars, and that they've trickled down to us little earthlings, you know, in the human suit. And so in order to find that interplanetary peace, we have to work on it here. And we are the microcosm of that macrocosm.
We are.
Yeah, individually, we're the microcosm of the macrocosm of what's going on Earth. That's why I looked at my marriage as something that I really felt I needed to address my childhood wounds, my shadow self, in order to help my marriage, my family dynamic, and then to be able to help serve more people that way. I did tell my husband, one thing that I know about myself is I'm a community connector and a community builder. I like to bring people together, and I like to say, oh, I can feel that you would be a good fit with this person, and then do the introduction. And then I kind of, you know, I'm out. These two people need to meet, you know,
a network,
or a group of people or whatever. And I said to my husband, and you're not you're not. You're an introvert. You know, he's more, he's into his career. And I said, and that's okay that you're that, but I'm not going to not be who I am either. And when we're in a solid place in our relationship, man, I feel like sky's the limit. I can do anything, you know? I know that I can do that within myself too, but I really like to have harmony in my relationship and everything surrounding me. So that emanates out, you know?
So, you know, I want to stop and comment on two things. Number one, you did, because I think it's important. You mentioned that your husband and you are complete opposites.
Totally.
With opposite interests. Like your husband would not be on that dolphin ride as often as you are. You know, he'd be nice to you.
He would be under the sea because he's a scuba master instructor in his spare time.
Gotcha. So
he likes to be under the water.
Right. We might see him coming up with the dolphins to swim with the boat. But I like that opposites not only can attract, but can add. So the way I see it now is we need everyone's different skills.
Yeah.
If everyone was Joan of Angels, we'd get nowhere because my 3D skills aren't so great. It's like we all need to come together with our own like tribe to get to where we're going.
I can give you a story about that opposite thing that we did learn and that's really helped us with this concept of time and how we view time. Do we live in the past, the present, or the future? And what are the traits of people who live in the past, the present, and the future? And I sat with it. And one of the examples my teacher gave was, you know, there's the one partner in the relationship is if they say they're going to have lunch at noon, one partner is thinking, okay, lunch at noon means I leave the office at 11:30, get there 10 to noon, you know, and then we have our lunch. The other partner maybe gets so involved in a phone conversation. And by the time that partner looks at the time, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't factor in drive time to go meet my spouse for lunch. And I was thinking, are you in my relationship right now? Because this totally happened to my husband and I, where he is Mr. Executive. He waits for no one. Everything starts on time. He's always early. And I'm the one that's like listening empathetically to somebody sharing their husband died. And I'm not going to just go, oh, sorry, I got to go to lunch and meet my husband for lunch, when they're pouring their heart out, telling me, you know, what's going on for them. So one of the solutions was that the party that's always early could bring a book. And I thought, oh my gosh, because that's what my husband does. He'll bring his iPad with his book on it and he'll just read. But he used to get really angry. And what it's also done for me is given me the impetus to want to show up on time, to respect his time, because he has meetings booked and how he does that. So maybe not taking that phone call. If I know that phone call may draw out, maybe I just won't take it. So learning from my husband, his management skills of time management, he chunks his time. So one of the things we're learning about opposites attracting is that our good qualities that we each have would be well served to rub off on the other partner, right?
Well, that's right. The ones that are driving you crazy, it would actually be good if they rubbed off on you. By the way, I used to be like your husband, and I still am. I like to be on time. And so I've learned over the years, I don't take phone calls if I don't think I can manage them. And, you know, I had a friend who was a very successful real estate agent. She only took calls, like she told everyone, I only return calls on Monday. And another wealthy woman I knew only returned calls between 9 and 10 every day. That's it.
But Brian's learned that technique too, my husband.
Yeah. So it's a strategy of how do we be more effective with this thing called time?
Yeah.
Because we have so many responsibilities now, and even though
differently, he said to me, you try to shove 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag. And he was right. Even today, I was at my Pilates class before I knew I had this, 3:00 live. And I thought, can I go shopping for my mom after Pilates and before I have to go on live? And I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it after, because I would have been late. I know myself. You know, she's got her list. I have to go buy all these things. I'm having lunch with her tomorrow. So I'm learning how to be more responsible with my time instead of just being in the flow.
Very interesting.
Being in the flow is also, there's something to be said for being in the flow too. And I like that Brian has adopted that with me when it comes to like going on a road trip and not booking a hotel ahead of time and just saying, why don't you just flow with me? We'll drive, we'll take in the sights. You never know. When you're open to the magic, the universe just showers you with magic, and you run across different people and then everything just kind of unfolds magically when you're in the flow. That happened to us in Greece. And I said, I need to get to this place on this flyer. It was this castle. And Brian said, he didn't think he wanted to do it, but I said, promise me, I promise you there's magic at the end of this. And we ended up being in the flow. We wouldn't have even had a bus to get us back to the top of Ia. We were in Santorini, and we ended up meeting a couple who we stayed friends with to this day. This was back in 1992 when we met them. Yeah. And it was just so magical. They took us out to dinner. They gave us a ride to the different place where we could catch a cab back up to where we had to go because the buses weren't running anymore, but it all worked out. So that was magical.
You're teaching him a new way, which
and it's collaborative. It's collaborative. We all win when we collaborate in that way, where we put our best foot forward with respect.
So what do you have coming up in the collaboration aspect of your life?
Well, the next thing I'm collaborating on is with you on 11/11.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we are collaborating on 11/11. I just saw the thumbnail for it, actually. It's a beautiful collaboration. Michelle and I are going to do a show with Portal to Ascension, right? It's a panel, Laura Eisenhower.
Elizabeth April, who I introduced to Neil, Elizabeth April.
Oh my God. So I can't wait to meet her.
She is really spectacular. Yeah, she is. I just can't say enough good things about her. But who else? And Celestine is going to be with us as well.
And Alan Steinfeld. Yes.
Yay.
Oh, yeah. I'm preparing Tina because these may be on StreamYard, Tina. So we're working on new platforms. I'm excited to collaborate with you, Michelle, more. That's why when I saw we were on some of the to panels, it was like, no, I need to have a heart-to-heart with her about being Michelle. I also want to say one other thing to you, which I think relates to all of my audience too. You came in with this mission. You came in, Spirit knew who you were, knew the goddess energy that you flow through, the high spiritual philanthropist that you are. And so Spirit found you a partner that could work with you so that you could become more of this goddess that you really are. And you've done goddess, you've played goddess for many lifetimes, just to let you probably know that. So it's kind of very interesting to me when I look at you, I just feel all that so present. I have loved having you on the show. Is there anything else you want to share with people?
Well, I want to make sure we let people know that the Portal to Ascension panel that we're on 11/11 is 11/11 Unified Experience. So it's hosted by Anastara Ma and Neil Gore, and we're on 2:30 to 4 p.m.
I'm looking for it now.
On 11/11. I know. I just pulled it up on my phone.
You talk about it, and I'll get it. Oh, and I see us. I just saw our show.
Can you see? I'm.
And guys, by the way, if you like what's happening, please like, subscribe, and share so that we can reach more people and bring this new material to people. I don't see it on Portal to Ascension somehow to post it. Video.
I think there's an 11/11 Unified page, but it's 11/11unified.com.
Oh, that's what it is. 11/11. Tina, can you put it in the
chat?
Yeah, 11/11.org.
Unified.com here.
Okay, perfect.
That's, that's one of the
Yeah.
things. And then what else? We have, there's some Portal to Ascension things coming up. I love that you're collaborating more with Neil at Portal to Ascension, and I am as well. And with Disclosure Fest, we have, a lot of different programs with Disclosure Fest, the mass meditations and the feeding the homeless and Starseed programs for the children. There's a lot of different programs. That's on DisclosureFest.org. And it's just exciting to be, flowing with it now and knowing that it's really important that we're doing these gatherings right now. Really important that we do collaborate, merge our energies together. This is what the Dolphin Boat, began as getting a group of people all in the heart space with an open-hearted, just feeling the joy that the dolphins inspire in us when they show up. And the whales are so filled with wisdom, and they're these record keepers for humanity. They're so majestic.
Wisdom keepers.
Yeah, and you feel your heart open in their presence. So when we have that open-heartedness, I would really love to leave everybody watching this show today with this thought that how can we collaborate with others? The magic of three. Anytime you're on a phone call with somebody, if you can do a three-way call and get three people to have that grand trine, to set an intention that that we're working towards getting through these sticky times by intending and praying with each other, so that we can see that this transition happens in the blink of an eye with ease and grace, and that we're calling forward the higher selves of each individual to rise in consciousness, so that we could see the truth and feel the truth and let go of the lower density vibrations of separation and step into this whole concept of unity consciousness. And I think that is what's going to bring forward this age of Aquarius that we've entered into, this time of enlightenment. So we can do it together. I'm doing it with Heather and Jason Powers at 4:44 every day. We have alarms set on our phones so that we can tune in and do the great invocation together, from the point of light, and really anchor that in on earth. I see light streaming forward in my window above. That's kind of
I see it too. And this is all on fire. So, Michelle, it has been wonderful to have you. When does your radio show air? KFMR radio. What day is that?
KXFM. So it's an FM radio station in Laguna Beach, but we have a worldwide audience. We're the #1 radio show on KXFMradio.org every Tuesday night live at 8 p.m., but we're podcasted on every platform. So
Pacific time.
Yep.
Just so everyone knows that. And I appreciate that. And they can reach you at the DisclosureFest.org.
Michelle at DisclosureFest.org is my email address. Yeah, I have an Instagram page. If people want to come on my Instagram page, it's Michelle Two Hearts. And Facebook, I talk with people on Messenger all the time on both of those vehicles as well.
And you have a beautiful heart, my friend. I
Thank
am so glad
you.
you blessed us with your presence. All right. I'll be right back with you. So thank you, Michelle, for being with us today.
Thank you. Love you.
I love you too. Okay. You got to love her. That energy is so pure. And, I pulled a card while she and I were talking. It's the Sacred Rebel card deck. And I pulled the card after the storm. And I thought, well, how interesting, because we have been in the storm, and the storm is kind of opening up, but after the storm, and remembering who we want to ride through the storm with, and our loved ones, and it's a one card. So it's like new energies arising, and we are in those new energies. And the other card I pulled was releasing the dark wound and letting love live. And Michelle is definitely an icon for letting love live. So guys, this has been absolutely wonderful. And I want to just say again, if you're new, thank you so much. And it's right up there. When you share the channel out, you help us grow, reach new people, even get new speakers on our shows. And just, it's a lot of fun for us. And so we appreciate it. And I also appreciate if you would check out my new website, www.joanofangels.com, and get that free ebook. That's why it's a free ebook. It's all about your soul-filled life. And we all start somewhere. And I'm really passionate about teaching us how to step into soul mastery and soul awakening so we can all collectively move to the higher realms together. So guys, stay safe, stay happy, stay loved, and stay in your own flow. And remember to start collaborating with everyone if you can. Here we go. Heaven is closer than you know. It's been great to be with you all. We will see you all next time. And thank you for joining us for today's version of Stepping into the Miraculous with Inspirational People. See you soon.